How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we start Daf Daf 55 of Masechta Kiddushin, friends. Daf 55, I think it talks about the opinion of Reb Meir when it comes to Hektish, that B'mezid, Mischalo, that stuff. How are you enjoying the sugya of Hektish and Meiser Sheni? Pretty fun stuff, right? I think it basically goes to like the end of the parak, which is another 1, 2, 3, 4 days away. Alright. Friends, we're really moving through Masechta Kiddushin, I'll tell you that. I mean, we're on Daf Nun Hey already. I mean, it's only 82 pages. I mean, not that much left. Few weeks left to Masech to Seder Noshim. Then we get up to Seder Nezikin. It's going to be a great year. Did I tell you already it's going to be a great year of Babylon Talmud? I think I did, right? We're wrapping up Masechta Kiddushin, and then Masechta Bava Kama, Bava Metzia. That's Be'esim, I think, going to be this year, right? Bava Kama is, I think, 120 pages. Bava Metzia, I think, is also 120 pages, which is, 240 pages. I guess we're going to get to Bava Basra as well. Bava Basra is 176 pages, I think. It's the longest Masechta in Shas. But there's a lot of Rashbam, so the pages are not so big. But what's 120 and 120 is 240, plus another 176, so 304. Yeah, it'll be more than a year. Yeah, but I guess this year is Kiddushin, Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, and a chunk of Bava Basra. Very interesting stuff. It's an intense Chazak year. It's going to be a Chazak year ahead of us. All right, Tanan Osam, we learn over there in the Mishnah in Shkolim. Fun times. A fellow finds an animal outside of Jerusalem. What? Outside of Jerusalem before Migdal Eder. Where's Migdal Eder? I don't know. But if it's between Jerusalem and Migdal Eder, and in all directions, right? So you can do that radius of Jerusalem, because if you find an animal with near Jerusalem, so then you have to assume that it's a korban that got out. So Zacharim, if it's a boy, if the animal is a boy, Olis, so you assume that it's a korban Ola. Nekevis, if the animal is a girl, Zivche Shlomim, you assume that it's a korban Shlomim. El Zacharim Olis Udahavu Zivche Shlomim Lohavu. 1 second, if the animal is a boy, so you assume that it's an Ola, can't it be a Shlomim? Amar Boshaya, so says Boshaya Hacha Bivalachuv Bidmeyen Oskinon. So says Boshaya, here what we're talking about is where the finder, the guy who finds the animal, doesn't want to offer it as a korban, right? If you're going to offer the animal as a korban, it's problematic, right? Because how do you know it's an ola? Maybe it's a shlomim. Here it's talking about where he wants to deliberately, b'mezid, deconsecrate, b'mischalel, the kedusha, the hektish, the kedusha of the animal onto money, and then this fellow plans to use this money to purchase new offerings. This is what it's saying, Chashinon. So when he goes to buy a new offering, and instead, Shema Olis, we have to be concerned, maybe it's an Ola, it could be a Shlamim, it could be an Ola. So what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to be mischalel the kedusha of the animal onto money, and use that money to buy two animals, a korban Ola and a korban Shlamim, and he offers them both, and he makes a condition. If the animal that I deconsecrated was a shlamim, so then the shlamim is the shlamim, the ola is an edava, it's a voluntary offering. And if fakert, if the animal that we found was an ola, so then the ola that I'm offering is an ola, and the shlamim is an edava. Reb Meir, and the Mishnah in Shkolim is memele Reb Meir. The Amar hekdish b'mezid mischalel. That Reb Meir's opinion is that if you are deliberately mischalel hektish, like over here, there's this animal that is kadosh kedusha saguf, that you have this animal that is hektish. We assume that it was a korban, and you are deliberately transferring its kedusha onto money, so that the animal now becomes chulin. But how can you be mischalel Kedushas haguf, right? There's different kinds of hektish. There's hektish domim. There's hektish dom. There's hektish kedushas dom, kedushas haguf. It could be just the value, right? You're just being makdish the value of something. Then you can be poda into money, or you can have something like being makdish an animal. The kedushas haguf, the animal itself is hektish, and we're saying how can you be mischalel kedushas haguf? But we learned in the Mishnah, ein mo'el achar mo'el bi mikudashin. That if you have hektish and one person is mo'el, one person gets benefit from the hektish, so then it's no longer hektish. It's no longer hektish. He was michalel the hektish, and it's no longer hektish. He's over on me'ilah. He has to bring an osher me'ilos, but the next person who gets benefit from it would not have to bring an osher me'ilos because it's no longer hektish. Ella b'behema v'klei sharis. The exceptions are behema, an animal. If you're makdish an animal to the Beis Hamikdash, you're going to bring it as a korban. Or if you have a klei sharis, a vessel in the temple, that even if the first person gets benefit from it, it remains hekdish. It remains holy. Because you cannot be mischalel. You cannot be mechalel kedushas haguf. Ketzad, how what is this case with the animal, with the klei sharis? If a fellow is riding an animal of hekdish, and then his friend comes and he oichit rides on it, and then his other friend comes, the oichit rides on it. All of them have to bring. All right, we got guests. All of them, if I'm loud enough, they'll realize that I'm recording, and so all of them have to bring an asham me'ilah. Because even after the first person was mo'il, it remains hekdish. If he was drinking from a klei sharis, from a cup of gold, and then his friend comes and drinks from it, and then his other friend comes and drinks from it, kulam mo'alu. All of them are mo'il. All of them have to bring a asham me'ilos. So we see that something that's kadosh, kedushas haguf, you cannot be mechalit. So how could it be that we're saying that Reb Meir, that we're saying, well, the Mishnah in Shkolim is Reb Meir, and because the Mishnah in Shkolim is Reb Meir, so therefore he could just be mechalel this animal on to money and buy new korbanos. You can't. It's something that's kadosh, kedushas damim. You can't just be mechalel. So I hear Rabbi Yehuda. Look, that Mishnah from Me'ilah that we're talking about, the animals and the klei sharis not being able to be mechalel, that's Rabbi Yehuda. That's not Reb Meir. Reb Meir. But the Mishnah in Shkolim with finding the animal and transferring its value onto money, that's Reb Meir. But mid Reb Yehuda, nishma le Reb Meir. But still, we should be able to learn from Reb Yehuda that kedushas haguf cannot be mischal, meaning Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir argue in terms of if you are a mechalel hekdish b'mezid versus b'shogeg. Reb Yehuda says that b'mezid eino mischalel. Reb Meir says that b'mezid mischalel. So fine, so they argue about the technicalities, but they would agree in terms of can kedushas haguf be mischalel bichlal or not. Kilulav Amar Reb Yehuda hekdesh b'shogeg mischalel. Because after all, isn't Rabbi Yehuda's opinion? The answer is yes. Isn't Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that hekdesh by accident is mischalel? Right. That's me'ilah. You have hektish, and by accident you get benefit from it. You have to bring an osher me'ilos. It's mischalel. It's no longer hektish. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. And even though Rabbi Yehuda says that there's a din me'ilah when you get benefit from hektish by accident, v'kedushas haguf lo mischalel, lo maschala. But still, in this Mishnah, he's saying, but if it's kedushas haguf, then it does not. Then it's not mischalel. So the Reb Meir nami. So say the same thing for Reb Meir. Afagav the hektish b'mezid mischalel, even though Reb Meir argues and says no, it's not when it's b'shogeg that it's mischalel, it's when it's b'mezid that it's mischalel. But still, He would agree, though, that in terms of the fact, the requirement, or whatever, the fact that Kedushas Aguf lo maschila, he would agree with Rab Yehuda. Okay, where they differ is Rab Yehuda says that it's bishogeg, that it's mischal. Rab Meir says that it's b'mezid, that it's mischal. But they're both talking about the same thing, that only by Kedushas Damim, but not by Kedushas Aguf. So, and for the Gemara, no, there actually is a difference, and they don't agree on that. Whereas Rab Yehuda is saying that Kedushas Aguf is not mischal, Rab Meir would say that Kedushas Aguf is mischal because Hasam lo kamichavin apokinu l'chulin. By Rab Yehuda's case, Rab Yehuda says that hektish is only mischal when it's bishogeg. And because when it's bishogeg, so by accident, so by definition, he's not intending to be michal. Whereas Hacha, when it comes to this animal that he finds outside of Jerusalem, Reb Meir's case, where he's saying that it's mischalo b'mezid when you're intending to deconsecrate it, so Hacha kamechavin apukinu l'chulin, and therefore even by Kedushas Aguf, even when the korban itself is hektish, it would be mischal if he intends to, like in Reb Meir's case, where he intentionally is mechalal the hektish. But I'll say that Reb Meir only says that by Kodshe Kodshim you would be able to be mechalal. For example, if you have this Ola, you'd be able to be mechalal onto money. But how do I know that even by Kodshem Kalim? So Omar Lehu Aumer Rabban Reb Yaakov Shmei Kal V'chomer. Well, it's a Kal V'chomer. It's logical. Kodshe Kodshim is Chalim. Kodshem Kalim Lo Kol Sheken. If Reb Meir says that Kodshe Kodshim you can be mechalal, so certainly Kodshim Kalim, which are sort of less strict, you would be able to be mechalal. Itmar Naim is also stated in a Amoraic statement. Omer Reb Chama, it says Rabbi Akiva, but there's a different gears of Rav Ukva, which I think makes more sense. Rav Chama Bar Ukva, Omer Reb Yossi, Reb Chanina, Omer Hari Reb Meir. The Reb Meir would say hektish b'mezid mischalel b'shogeg ein mischal. That hektish is mischal b'mezid but not b'shogeg. Echad Kodshe Kodshim, V'echad Kodshim Kalim, whether it's Kodshe Kodshim, whether it's Kodshim Kalim, Kavachomer, because it's logical, Kodshe Kodshim Mischalin, Kodshe Kodshim Mischalin, Kodshim Kalim, Lo Koshkin. If Kodshe Kodshim are Mischalin, then certainly Kodshim Kalim would be Mischalin. Toiba Reb Yochanan. So now Reb Yochanan doesn't understand that, who's this Reb Oshaya, right? That Reb Oshaya explains the Mishnah in Shkalim that it's like Rabbi Yehuda, and that he's deliberately being mechal this hektish, right? Meaning he finds this animal, right? If it's a boy animal, so then you assume that it's a korban ola, and you are mechal the value of the animal onto money, and because you do it intentionally, therefore it's mischalel, and it's no longer hektish, and now the money has the value, and then you buy 2 korbanos, a korban shlomim, a korban ola. But Rabbi Yochanan says, I don't understand. Do we advise a person to sin? It's not. What does it mean to be mischal hektish? You have this animal, it's hektish, kedushas aguf, it's a korban. You're not allowed to intentionally be mechalel, right? What does Rashi say? The top line of Rashi, if you have an animal, that's a korban. You're not allowed to be mechalel an animal that is not a balmum, that is a complete kosher animal. You can't just deconsecrate its value onto money. So I don't. So Rabbi Yochanan says I don't understand. How can it be okay that the Mishnah is Reb Meir and he's just deconsecrating a korban? It doesn't work like that. It would have to have a mum. So Elam Rabbi Yochanan, rather says Rabbi Yochanan, mamtin la. No, what you do is if you find this animal, you have to wait until it gets a mum, and then once it gets a mum, well then umaisi shtei behemos umasne. Then you can transfer the value onto money, and then buy 2 korbanos, an ola, and a shlomim, and you make the tanai. If it was a shlomim, so it's a shlomim. Otherwise, it's a nadava, etc. So you have to wait until it gets a mum be'etzim, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Omar Mar, we said earlier, Zcharim Olis. So we said that if it's a boy animal, then you have to assume it's a korban ola. But Dilma Todahi, maybe it's a korban toda. Demaisi Nami Toda. So okay, so in addition to bringing an ola and a shlam, you also bring a korban toda, because yeah, you're right, maybe it's a korban toda. Vabaya Lechem, But a korban toda, you have to bring breads with it, 40 breads. Demaisi nami lechem, he also brings 40 breads. V'duma asham hu, but maybe it is a, how do you know, maybe it's a korban asham. Asham, and that would be a problem because you can't bring an asham as an idava. You bring an asham, if you get in trouble for something, you can't just bring an asham as a voluntary asham. Okay, shlamim, ola, toda, but not an asham. So asham ben shtei shana v'ishtikach ben shana. Yeah, but an asham would be a ram that's 2 years old, but this was 1 year old. That was found, so it couldn't have been an asham. Vidilma asham mitzaru, asham naziru, maybe it's an asham mitzaru, an asham nazir, which is 1 year old. Lo shchiche, but those aren't common, we don't assume that that's what he found. Vidilma pesachu, maybe what he found was a korban pesach. Maybe you have to offer a korban pesach. Pesach bezmano mizar zehire bei. Look, if the korban pesach is, on time, it's right before Pesach, so then people are going to be careful to make sure it doesn't get lost. Let me see something. Where am I? Vishalobazmano, and if it's after the first, if it's too late already, you find it the second day of Pesach or something, shlammu. Well, then it would be a shlamim anyways, which we're saying that you offer it as a shlamim. One of the animals that you bring would be a shlamim. How do you know? Maybe it's a korban bechor. Maybe it was a firstborn. Maybe it was meiser behema. So look, here we're talking about where according to Rabbi Yochanan, we're saying you wait till you get a mum. So those animals you can eat anyways with when it has a mum. So we're just saying that you can eat this animal anyways with a mum, so that wouldn't be a concern either. We said earlier, nikevis, if the animal was a girl, zivchei shlamim, so then you have to bring it as a korban shlamim. Dilma todahi. Maybe it was a korban toda. Demaisi toda. Okay, you also bring korban toda. Vabein and lechem, but I thought you have to bring 40 breads with a toda. Demaisi nami lechem is actually bringing 40 breads. Vaduma chatasi. Maybe it's a korban chatas, and you can't just bring a korban chatas willy nilly. You can't just bring a korban chatas as a korban nedava. So chatas bashnosa. Yeah, but a chatas would be a 1 year old vishtikach bashteshan, but the animal that was found was 2 years old, so therefore it can't be a chatas. Yeah, maybe it was a korban chatas, but now it's a 2 year old, meaning it was a korban chatas when it was 1 year, and you found it when it's 2 years, but it was actually a korban chatas. Lo shchiach, but that is not common. That you would find a chatas that was 1 year old, now it's 2 years old. Ishtikach bas shnosa, but what if you do find an animal that was 1 year old? What do you do? Because you have to be concerned it's a chatas. So Tanya Chananya ben Chachinai Omer Eiz bas shnoso lechatos, that if it's 1 year old, so then it would be korban chatas. Chatas hagadaitech. How could you bring it as a korban chatas? You can't bring a voluntary korban chatas. Elo Omerbai ki chatas. It's like a chatas konsa lechipa v'meisa meilel. No, what you have to treat it as like there are 5 korban chatases that you just have to basically starve to death. And you would treat this as one of them as well. And if you find this animal, it's 1 year old, then you would have to be concerned with korban chatas, and you don't know what to do with it, so you would basically have to starve it to death. Friends, that was Daf Nun Hey of Masechta Kiddushin. We continued basically looking into studying the opinion of Reb Meir that, and also Machlokas with Reb Yehuda as well regarding hektish. That Reb Meir's opinion is that b'mezid mischal b'shogeg enu mischal. Reb Yehuda's opinion is that b'shogeg mischal b'mezid enu mischal. Friends, that was Daf Nun Hey Masechta Kiddushin. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.